Hey, I'm Nikki, and I'm a superstar consultant with Scentsy, and I want to talk to you about taxes. I'm not a tax professional. I'm not an accountant, but this is what I've learned, and this is what helps me in my business. The information and documents that I have came from a group on Facebook called U.S. Tax Dollars and Cents. Cents is spelled Cents. That's where I got all of my information, my Excel spreadsheet, to input all of my numbers and things like that in it. So I wanted to share with you both of those documents. And if you are in my team page or my group page with my director, those are shared in to our group page. I'll also put them in here in my YouTube channel, so that way you guys have access to those too, and I hope they're helpful. So I'm going to start out with the Scentsy deductions, what you can and cannot deduct from your taxes. So I'm going to switch it over to my desktop view, and I hope that I do this right. Okay. So this first sheet is Scentsy deductions, things that you can and cannot write off of your taxes. Some of the things that you cannot write off are incentive trips, incentive rewards, product credit, host credits, things that you've bought with those party rewards. You cannot write your speeding tickets off that you get if you speed and get a ticket by delivering to your customers. You can't write that off. You can write clothing off if it has the Scentsy logo. If you just have a shirt that says I love Scentsy with no Scentsy logo, you cannot write that off. I'm sorry. You cannot write off consumable goods like trash bags or toilet paper, or your dog food that you buy for your pets, or any kind of pet food. You cannot write off gifts that are over $25 in value per person per year. So if you give something to somebody as a gift, you can only write off $25 of that gift that you gave to someone. You cannot write off your personal products that you use for your personal self unless it is for your business. If you use like this bag of Scentsy soap that I have right here, I'm making samples with this. What's left of it, I'm going to use for my personal use. I can write off, say if I use 75% of it, I can write off 75% of this bag of Scentsy soap. And the other is personal use. Same thing with your car. Your car payment, your gas, things like that, your mileage can only be written off as a percentage because you use your vehicle for personal use as well as business. You can only write off the business part of your usage of those items. Same thing with like your cell phone bill or your house payment, your utilities. You can only write off a certain portion of those items because it's not all for Scentsy. It's your personal use as well. There is a percentage rule, and they have a little example of that listed on this deductions Excel spreadsheet. There are different tabs here at the bottom. Advertising, things that you can include as advertisement for your business. Apps and computer programs, things like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. You may not be able to write off 100% because you may use that stuff for personal, for personal reasons or for yourself instead of just your business. You can write off conventions and trainings, SFR, World Tour, boot camp leadership. If you do training awards and recognitions for your team, things like that. Books, if you buy books for training purposes for your business, self-growth for your business, you can write that type of thing, those type of things off. Credit card and bank fees. I know PayPal and Square charge processing fees. You can write those off. As long as you are not charging your customer a convenience fee or a handling fee for using those services. Displays for trainings, parties, and events. Things like a whiff box. If you buy a whiff box every month, you can write that off as long as you do not sell portions of that whiff box. You can write off your sampler kits, like our holiday collection. If you buy the holiday collection and make samples with it, you can write that off. Same thing for the bricks, your shooting star, bring back my bar, different things like that. You can write off as long as you are not selling the product. If you're making samples with it, you can write it off. Donations. I'm not 100% knowledgeable about donations. I have to learn more about the aspect of taxes. So if you do have questions about donations, charitable donations, door prizes, things like that you've donated to different organizations, please reach out to a tax consultant about those, because I'm not 100% familiar with that. Event supplies. So your tables, pegboards, letterboards, signage, shelves, totes, power strips, things like that you're going to use at an event, you can write those off. What else is there? Gifts. So gifts, product, food. So some examples that are common in our business is like a gift to the UPS carrier at Christmas, where you want to thank them for their great service throughout the whole year. Give them a little something. Your kids' teachers, as long as it's $25 or less per person, you can write that off. Same thing for your customers. Like if you do a customer appreciation, like your thank you mail, happy mail, things like that, those are considered gifts and can be written off. Incentives and team building. So things like your monthly postcards that you send out for your team, like your top 10 team mail, you can write that off on your taxes. Training materials, promotional gifts, recognitions for your team, that's all tax write-offs. Insurances for your business. If you have an event where you need to purchase insurance for that event, that's a tax write-off, because that's exclusively for your business. You have no personal gain with event insurance, so that is a tax write-off. Internet. You have internet at your house. You use it for your business, but you also use it for your family, for your personal use. So you could only write off a percentage of your internet expense or your internet bill. Legal and professional fees, passports, accountant, you're able to write those things off, those services. Or a lawyer if you're going to make yourself an LLC. Meals. Meals are a little touchy. As long as it's not like crazy amount of food purchases, it's okay. If you are going to an event and you're paying for your food while you're at this event, you can write that off. So keep in mind that like having a huge get together for your team, such as a holiday party, is not, it says it is not subject to that 50% limit. But if you have a meal at home for a couple of your teamies, that's probably going to be under the 50% limit. Let's see, memberships, Sam's Club, Costco, and everybody has Amazon Prime, right? Those are all tax write-offs to a certain extent. That's where that percentage rule comes into play, because you are going to shop at Costco and Sam's Club for your personal benefit, not just your business. Same thing for Amazon. I buy all kinds of stuff off Amazon. I don't know who doesn't, really. All right. Mortgage interest and other interest. So your house and your vehicle, you can use a portion of that as a tax write-off. Not all of it, because your whole house isn't your Scentsy business. Your car isn't just for your Scentsy business. You use it for your personal use as well. So it's just a percentage. Office supplies. Everything that you use for Scentsy, paper, ink, labels, stapler, tape, paper clips. I mean, the list goes on. Things that you use in your office, chairs, desk. I think I've went through that. Printer, magnets. They have all kinds of stuff listed that are tax write-offs for your office supplies. Your phone or your cell phone goes to that percentage category where you can only use a percent of it because you do use it for your personal benefit. Postage and shipping. This is my biggest category that I spend the most money in is postage and shipping. Envelopes, stamps, pirate ship, USPS, UPS, stamps.com, all of that. Your labels, shipping labels, postcards are all a tax write-off, as long as your customer isn't paying for shipping. If your customer doesn't pay for shipping, then it's a tax write-off. But if your customer pays you, or you include shipping into the total cost for your customer, and they pay shipping plus tax plus the product, it's no longer a tax write-off for you because you got reimbursed for that shipping cost. Here's another one. Sample supplies. Sample supplies is a huge one, especially if you're just starting out and you need printer ink and you need felt. I mean, all these kinds of things that you can use for samples. A melting pot if you're going to melt your wax down. Different things like that can be used as a tax write-off. Selling supplies. So your agenda that you got off of the consultant store, anything from the consultant store pretty much is a tax write-off. Your starter kit, training guides, stickers, brochures, product list, Vistaprint, all of that stuff is a tax write-off. Tax prep. So if you hire an accountant to do your taxes, that's a tax write-off. If you use TurboTax and you have to pay a fee, that's a tax write-off. Travel. So if you travel to SFR or any other kind of leadership for Scentsy, or team meetings, or deliver packages to your customers, or pick up things from the store, that is a tax write-off to a certain extent, but you have to keep track of your mileage. That is the kicker. Scent of the month. All right. Scent of the month is 100% a tax write-off if you do not sell anything out of your scent of the month kit. If you do sell like your warmer or a couple bars of wax, you have to deduct that from what you paid for the scent of the month to be able to write off the portion that you did not sell. Vehicle maintenance. Gas, oil changes, tires, windshield wipers, loan interest repairs, insurance are all part of the percentage tax write-off, where you can only write off a percent of it because you don't use your vehicle for only Scentsy. You use it for personal gain as well. Vendor events and show fees, those are all tax write-offs. There's some notes down here about taxes. I have not had this issue about any of my vendors that I've worked with in the past. Any of the events that I've worked with in the past trying to charge me sales tax. I haven't had that problem. So if you have questions about that, please read the notes, reach out to your accountant, and they can help you more with that. Websites. So your PWS is a tax write-off 100%. And any kind of website forwarding service that you use is a tax write-off as well. And then there's nothing in the other category. So this is all on the U.S. Tax Dollars and Cents Facebook page. So if you have any questions or would like this for yourself, join that group, and everything is there. All you have to do is search for it. I'll also try to put it into the notes of this YouTube video. All right, so that is the Scentsy deductions. Next is a blank copy of the mileage expense and your trackers. The very first tab is instructions. It pretty much tells you what goes where and why. So you have your instructions tab, you have your year trackers. This is the tracker for the year to see where you're kind of standing throughout the year. You have your monthly trackers to see what you spend the most on every single month. It breaks it down a little bit more. And then you have your month, and every single tab is a different month. So for January, your commissions tab right here, this is where you would put your Scentsy commissions. And it's a little confusing if you think about it, but always remember your commissions is what goes in your bank account in January, not your total sales for January, but what went in your bank account January the 10th when Scentsy pays us. Yes, that's for December, but that's what you got paid in January. So that would go in your commissions. For the one in February, it's what goes into your bank account February the 10th. Or whenever Scentsy decides to pay us, somewhere around the 10th. That goes in that commission spot. In the expenses category over here to the left, you can put in your date for your expenses. You could put in your Amazon order that you placed on the 1st. Let's just say on the 1st. And it was for $50. And we're going to call it, it has different categories, advertising, all the things that we just talked about over on the other sheet, has all of that. Let's say it's going to be selling supplies and expenses. And if you notice that in the categories tab over here where it says January totals by category, that selling and supplies bumped up to 50. So every time that you add something to your expenses and put it in a category, you'll see it over here to the right under the January totals by category. It'll total all of those categories up for you. Here at the bottom right is incentives, awards, prizes. Let's see if I can open that up a little bit. Incentive, awards, prizes, and other income. So your PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, all of those payment options that you can use, those monies will go through there. And a lot of people don't know this, but PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, and a few other services that you use to receive payment by, they are going to start sending people 1099s for receiving payments that accumulate to over $600 for the year. So keep that in mind, that you're going to have to start keeping up with those payments that you received, because you will end up receiving a 1099. If you receive over $600 in payments through PayPal, if you receive over $600, they're going to send you a 1099. If you receive over $600 in Venmo, they're going to send you a 1099. So just keep that in mind, because you will have to record that. You're supposed to anyway, because it is a transaction that can be followed. Anything done with a card or a bank account is going to be tracked some way, somehow. But each month has the exact same thing. You'll enter in your stuff every single month. You have a place for warmer of the month. You have your website and cross-border management, vendor show fees if you have those. I mean, it has pretty much everything that we've just discussed. If you click all the way to the end, you'll go to the mileage. In the mileage category, you can change the month here. So if you start out in January, let's rephrase this. Let me start back over on this tab. At the very top up here, it says starting mileage, January 1st at 12:01 a.m. So right after that ball drops, go out to your car, take a picture of your mileage, enter your starting mileage in this document. That way it helps you keep up with your mileage a little bit better. Ending mileage, December 31st at 11:59. Take a picture of your mileage and enter it at ending mileage, and that'll give you your total yearly mileage of how many miles that you drove your vehicle. If you have another card, a secondary card that you use, you'll need to do the same for that as well. It is good to try to keep track of what miles you do use for Scentsy. Like if you're making deliveries, it is good to try to keep track of that. That way you can have a more accurate number of business miles instead of just a random amount. But you can put your location, your purpose. If you went to Hobby Lobby to buy you some supplies, put in that mileage in there. Tell them that it's from Hobby Lobby to pick up some gift boxes or whatever, sampling supplies, and then put in the total amount of miles. And over here to the right, it calculates your monthly total for every single month. So if you drove 50 miles in January, that's federal mileage rate is going to be 56 cents for that month. So if you drove 20 this month, none in March, 60 in April, I mean, you can just keep going on and on and on, and it will, I'm sorry, I lied to you guys. Federal mileage rate is 56 cents per mile. So the number and the dollar amount beside of each month is what you can write off that month. So if you drive 100 miles, you can write off $56 in May, or whatever, however it works best for you. But and then you can total up each car. So it will total up each car if you have multiple vehicles at the bottom. So this is a good way to keep track of your mileage. It's a good way to keep track of your expenses. But I try my best to do. I'm not perfect, but I try my best to enter in my expenses and my commissions and all of my information at the end of every month. So on the 30th or 28th, whatever the last day of the month is, I try to enter in all my expenses for that month, all of my commissions, all of my payments that I've received for the month. That way I don't have so much to do at the end of the year. Like I said before, I'm not a tax expert, but this is what I use, and this is what has helped me last year, and it's helped me this year. My accountant really likes this. She's able to get what she needs from it fast. It's organized, it's clean looking. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys to help y'all out. If y'all have any questions, please let me know. Again, I'm not a tax expert, so if you have a detailed tax question, you will need to speak with a tax professional about that. So, hope you all have a wonderful night, and we will talk to you guys soon. Bye, y'all.